Okay, ka pai. So the bush track's got a bit of history itself, eh? Because when you look at the establishment of Frankley School, so those classrooms there are the first rooms, and that was back in 1969. Because the school was up on the hill, eh? The old Frankley Road School. So it was called the old Frankley Road School. The house is still there, owned by one of our ex-families. So when you drive up there, you take a left onto Frankley Road. It's the building on the right. So before the school was built, this was the Duncan and Davies nursery. And Sir Victor Davies, he's massive horticulturalist, Aotearoa wide. And this was where all of the plants and everything was growing here. And my understanding is this track here was used to take out all the trees. And they had a whare just up the top that they used to have as well, the Davies family. That's where Davies Road comes from. And Victor Davies was, massive. Victor Road, there's a Victor Road too up around the corner.
Raukura Street, wasn't that part of it?
Yeah, it was huge. It was massive, absolutely massive. And he's also responsible for bringing from the island Mōtiti and Tauranga the yellow flowering pohutukawa tree. So if you've ever seen the yellow flowering pohutukawa tree, if you see one, there's one down by Pukeariki, there's one on Spencer Place when you do the Te Henui walk. If you parked up there, that big pohutukawa tree, that's a yellow flowering pohutukawa tree. So the track itself has got history. The bush has got history. The idea that the Ministry of Education had is that they'd have a kindy, primary school, intermediate and a high school all on the one site. That's why we got all this lovely bush area. So Te Ara Tika is the right pathway. And Te Ara Tika talks about the right pathway to learning. That's what the whole idea of the bush track was. And used by many walkers, runners, cyclists, mountain bikers as well. It's a good shortcut in between. So the bush track. But with that, we decided that the Pou here needed to represent the bush. So up top here we have Tāne Mahuta. So Tāne, the guardian of the forest. And you'll see the top knot, and if you look really closely you'll see that where his nose is, as Kenny described, it's a hook. And it looks like it's a beak. It's the beak of a bird. That's why that's there. Te ngutu o te manu. And even down on the bottom of his lip, there's another hook.
Yeah, that's the bottom of the lip.
The bottom of, and
like
so
that.
Kenny talked about that, the beak, like that.
Beak.
So that's quite significant. The Kōkōwai, you'll see the shield in terms of the carving and the template that was made up. But then you've got these wonderful manu that when we gave the challenge to do that, we were only talking about maybe we could carve the feet, or maybe we could carve the names. But then I turned up and Kenny had done this, which is pretty amazing. So the team names, really important in terms of our whānau names, and the connection back to the manu. You know, that kōwhai tree there, eh? You know, when that kōwhai is blooming, you only got to stand there and count how many tui you'll see there, and they jump from there and they go over to the other big kōwhai tree over in the corner over here. There's a big massive one there, and they fly in between. You know, the kereru. The kereru is significant because when I came here and interviewed for my DP job, I was walking out of my car and I heard the swoop, and then I looked up and on the tree were two kereru. I thought, oh, well, this must be the school. You know, so those kind of little tohu that we have. So having the manu here, really significant. Kenny, did you want to talk about anything else on the carving?
I just want to take a look at the carving, especially the mahunga, and here, the Waharoa and the other one, and then I'll ask you a question. There's something specific that's there that it's something that you can teach the children about, and why it's not there. It's something that's not there. Okay? Well, it's there, but it's not there. So when you bring the kids here, though, you know, get them to touch the Pou. Get them to
touch the manu, feel the feathers, you know, talk about the Tāne Mahuta, talk about the significance of the bush, the guardian of the forest, but also, you know, and it's also the guardian of the kura, the school, the tamariki, you know, guardian of people who are using the track, when they're using the track. So, yeah, so Tāne Mahuta, Tāne Mahuta. Any questions? All right.
When we placed it, Damon, was there talk too of, I don't know if you might have said this before I arrived, but was one eye looking at Ukuarika as well?
Oh,
so
ka pai.
the pathway,
Ka pai. Yeah.
so it's up the track, but also
Yeah.
to the pathway.
Yes. Yeah. And Kōkōwai, you can just see just over here. So if we all come down this way, whānau. All right, haramai, we'll carry on now. We're going to go towards the Waharoa. Ka pai. So just back to that story when the Duncan Davies was here. Apparently, Phil Gould was chasing a bulldozer here as they were clearing the land and grabbing the rhododendrons, which are now planted over there in the rhododendron dell. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, the big driveway coming up into the kura at the time, yeah, that was very significant because, you know, the reality is, I know our school's built on a swamp because we're in the bottom of the valley. So, but, you know, in the summer that's lovely. When it rains in the winter, it's a bit of a problem, especially if the Waimea backs up. So, so the Waharoa, you know, partly the kōrero and the significance, you know, links back to our kahikatea trees. So in New Plymouth, this would be one of the only places where you'd find the kahikatea trees in terms of a grove. There aren't many groves of kahikatea like we have here, and in particular these three. And those three kahikatea kind of built for us our, you know, the kaupapa of Frankley, representing the children, the community, and our school. So the kahikatea and the waiata Tu Kahikatea, that's where that comes from. So when we thought about having a waharoa, we thought, well, we can't put it at the front because when we have our visitors come in, where do they get welcomed into? Where's the whare? Where's our marae? And so we decided that because we have manuhiri that come into the hall, that this would be the perfect place. So that's why we have our waharoa here. But then we said, well, we can't have anything not at the front or the back, so that's why we have Pou there. So that's why we have Tāne Mahuta there, and we have Tāne Te Wānanga at the front. So here, as I said, Koruru, Maunga Taranaki. Maunga Taranaki and the story that relates back to Rua Taranaki, the story that links back to Tahurangi, his son, who climbed the Maunga under ceremony, who arrived at the top. He lit a fire to let everyone know that he had arrived. After he lit the fire, placed his pou in the ground, and he named the Maunga Rua Taranaki. Up until then, the Maunga was known as Puke Haupapa. Puke Hill, Haupapa Snow. So that's part of the kōrero and the narrative that speaks about the Maunga. So that's what we have here on the kōrero. Along the maihi, we have six, 3 on this side, 3 Manaia, and 3 on this side. So they are significant in terms of them being kaitiaki and guardians of our kura. And as I said before, half a male, half a female, and you'll see that. And we've already you know, had a kōrero about that. You'll also see the maka or the mata kupenga design in the background. It's the design of the net that speaks about the net in terms of the net that captures all those daru. When you come to kura and you come to school, you walk through here, the mata kupenga captures that. The design of the Taranaki design, which will bring our carver into the kōrero now, Kenny, in terms of the difference between the Taranaki design and other design carvings, because they are unique. Our carving style is unique to us here. So Kenny, did you want to speak about some of those characteristics of the Taranaki carving style?
Our carving in Taranaki, our carving is called kai tangata. Kai being food and tangata man. And that relates back to ones in the whole of Aotearoa that express that in our carvings. You'll go to every other place, Auckland, Tauranga, whatever, you have a look at their carvings and you won't see that. And how we put, do that for kai tangata is this one here. You have a look at here. This is his arm. It's going under the jaw and coming out the mouth. And if you have a look at the arm here, it has been carved. But once it's come out of the mouth, there's no carvings on it there. Okay? And that means it's been eaten. Okay? Same again over here. You'll have the interlocking arms. There, it's the start of the arm, the shoulder, or the thigh. Same here. Once it's been interlocked and come out, there's no carvings on it. So that's telling you that it's been eaten by us, not by animals or anything like that. It's just what we did in the old days. Obviously, we're not doing it now. What am I meant to be?
Yeah, so it's the shape of a serpent. The design of the carvings and you'll see on the head. You'll notice the Taranaki Mounga is part of that design as well. So
yeah, we're the only ones in the whole of Aotearoa that put our maunga on our head. On our head, and that is because it's quite easy to do it. Okay. Another thing is the carving notches here, all over here. The main carving notch for Taranaki is Pungāwerewere, or the spider leg. And you'll see on
point
here,
that notch out. Yeah,
right here, that's the notch there, Pungāwerewere.
looks like the mountain.
It looks like a mountain, but it's not the mountain. It's just the spider has 4 legs, and mainly we do have meant to have 4 legs on it. And on the other side so that's the body of the spider. So his legs are like that. But when you're creating things, you only put it on there. Also in here, you'll see 2 grooves here, sometimes 3. And that is the spider web. So the spider is inside his web. Do you understand that? The other thing I've put on this Waharoa, pretty much the same as the bell block one, except the bell block one, the body, we've only got one on the bell block one. Over here, I needed to change. So in our carvings, if you go to the museum, especially the Moturoa Motunui carvings that are on display, they have 2 bodies on them. Okay, which is we got here. One here. This one here is going into the side of the head. The other one here is going out of his eye. And sometimes this one here is coming out of the mouth. Once again, kai tangata, eating of man. There's one other thing on there. It's very prevalent over there. That was my question over there before. Anybody got any ideas? I might as well tell you now. If you see here, right here, what's this?
Mouth.
Mouth, yeah.
No tongue.
Tongue?
No tongue.
Okay, any questions why his tongue's not sticking out?
Because you're not cheeky.
That's it.
Is that true?
You'll see most carvings, they'd be very rare. I've only seen one, and that's on the Motunui panels that are on display, that we've got a tongue sticking out.
On this Pou whānau, one of the important things was that we had our tohu, our designs that speak about the different hubs that our children go into. And the idea here was that the children could come up and touch, and they go, oh, I'm in Te Kākano, or I'm in Te Pihinga. Here we have Māui-Tikitiki-a-Taranga, so Maui with the top knot of Taranga, so he's carved there. One of the things we talked about the Kōkōwai, the Tāne Mahuta wears and Tāne Te Wānanga wear. These two don't have Kōkōwai carved, but they have Kōkōwai that can be put on for ceremony. That's currently in Sarah's room, in the office. So we can put those, we can wrap their Kōkōwai around them. Yeah, definitely. That's a special event, so they would go on both. We've got two Kōkōwai there. Kenny mentioned too the different design elements. So these are really good examples here. So you've got the Puwerewere design here, and then you've got three different notches here. You've got the tuarakuri, the backbone of the dog, and this one here, niho taniwha, which is the teeth of the taniwha. And this is a representation of the awa, wai mea, but also a representation of the notches that Kenny is connected to. Taranaki for the Pungāwerewere, Kenny, the tuarakuri.
Yeah, that's the second carving notch for Taranaki.
And the niho taniwha.
Niho taniwha, this is connected with your caretaker, his mother. My wife was from Wanganui, where I was married to her for 40 years until she passed away a couple of years ago. And like we do, and that's another thing, why we put Pungāwerewere on there, or the backbone of the dog. We honour things that help us in the past, what helped us in our life. And the spider helped us in our life, the dog helped us, kept us warm at night. And when we were hungry, we killed him, ate the dog, got his skin, made it into a cloak, got his bones, made it into hay tikis or whatever, or fish hooks and stuff like that. So with that theme, because she was from Wanganui up Jerusalem, their main carving notch is Neho Taniwha. So as you can see, I only put three carving notches, two of Taranaki and one of Wanganui. No other iwi is on there, but I honour my wife, Rangi's mother, by putting Neho Taniwha on there.
See the Raukura, that's a connection back to Parikaha. So the story of Parikaha, the Raukura being the symbol of peace and resistance, or passive resistance. He honore, he korori ki te atua, he maungarongo ki te whenua, e whakairo pai ki te tangata. So glory to God on high, peace on earth and goodwill to all mankind. Is what the Raukura stood for, and was a very strong doctrine and teaching of Parikaha during the times of post the confiscations of land, post the Taranaki land wars, New Zealand land wars, and of course the significant day for Parikaha being Waipok's 5th of November 1881 was the day of the invasion of Parikaha. So there's a lot of narrative and story that sits behind this kōrero. And then of course we have Tawhirimatea at the top, the guardian of the wind, with ngā haue whā and the connection to all of the tamariki that come here to the kura from across the world. No, that's enough now. Right, whānau, you've had enough listening. So now it's time to just have a kōrero with someone next to you, quick minute or two. So far we still got to go to the front, Pou, but have a kōrero at the moment. What are some of your worries? What might be some of your concerns? How might you talk to and start to unpack some of the narratives here with your tamariki? Wait, go whānau, a couple of minutes.
Well, it helped us, like, I don't know if you heard this.
So here we have Tāne Te Wānanga. Now remember, the same person as Tāne Mahuta. Just that the last part of his name is changed as a result of his feats or an event that happened. So Tāne Mahuta, guardian of the forest, he separated his parents. Tāne Te Wānanga tells the narrative and story about Tāne who climbed the heavens, Poutama, climbed the heavens to collect the 3 baskets of knowledge. So we've got the 3 baskets of knowledge here. Te kete tuauri, te kete tuatea, te kete aronui. Now, the narrative about Tāne Te Wānanga going to collect these baskets of knowledge, it's quite a big story, because it wasn't as easy going for him to climb the heavens. And in each of the different levels of the heavens that he climbed, he met challenges along the way. So it wasn't an easy feat to go to collect these baskets of knowledge, to then bring them down to Papa Tuanuku, and then to spread that kōrero and that knowledge out amongst the people. So that story itself has a big kōrero, but the Pou, or Tāne Te Wānanga, he has a Kōkōwai, just like he does at the bush track, and he has a top knot. You can see the different shape in his mouth in regards to the beak of the bird that's at the back. Here he just has his normal waha. And so the Pou that meets and greets people, this is all about the reasons why we come to kura, reasons why we come here to school. We come to school to come to learn. And to have the Pou here right at the front here that speaks to learning, speaks to knowledge, is very significant. So, Kenny, did you want to talk about the Kōkōwai?
Yeah, that Kōkōwai, the yellow bit on there is Kōkōwai. It comes from the pito of Taranaki Mounga, and the pito is the belly button. So about 3 or 4 years ago, a team of us, Glenn Skipper, Morgan Watson, myself and a few others went up there, did a trek right up to the pito with two 10-litre buckets, and it was just pouring out of this hole in the side of the mountain. And that also is the start of the Waharoa River, Awa. So that also flows right down into, and that is the start of it. And this Kōkōwai, in the old days, we used to smear that all over our bodies. And if you ever look at some of the ceremonies of the Aboriginals in Australia, you'll see they smear a white Kōkōwai. So you dress up and put it on that, and then they have, so that they do these ceremonies. What we did also, we bundled it up like a clay, put it next to a fire, burnt it, and it turned into red, which is the same colour as I've got here. And then we were painting our carvings with that. And you'll see in the museum, if you go in the archives of the museum, there is still old Taranaki carvings, and you can just see the red Kōkōwai paint on it. So that's why you'll see most marae and carvings done in red. Okay, and with this, and also we use it as the ceremony of opening up and blessing of this. And as you can see, the Kōkōwai is still there. And I know it's all about Frankley School, but I have to refer back to the Bell Block School. That is done over a year and a half ago, and the Kōkōwai, my hands are still on there, and it stays there. So do not tell the kids or anybody to rub it off. It'll rub itself off in time. Maybe it might be still there in 20 years' time, I don't know. A funny story. It's only a 5-second story.
5 seconds better.
We had the ceremony, and it was in the middle of COVID, and there was only about 20 of us to do the opening. and on the Monday the kids come in, they ran straight to the office, got the headmaster, Conrad, says, oh, somebody's been drawing all over our new carvings and put graffiti there. And he come running out and he goes, oh, no, that's Hawaii. So, yeah,
Kia ora, Kimi. Yeah. So that's the story and the narrative about the Pou. We call this one the Pou Mua because this is one at the front gate. Te Pou Ngāhere, the Pou that's at the bush track, and then the Waharoa. So Pou Mua being the front pillar. And I guess if I just take a step back and think about what it represents, both these Pou and the Waharoa, one of the questions I always ask our kura that I work with is, how do I know I'm in the school in Aotearoa, in Taranaki, Ngā Motu, Te Atiawa, Ngāti Te Piti. And I know that I'm in the school in Aotearoa when I walk through your front gate here, because I see a Pou here that's carved. I don't know the story, but I see something that represents Te Ao Māori. And as I carry on down the pathway, I see the Waharoa, and that captures my eye. And then I look around your kura in your school, and I see other different elements that show that I'm in Aotearoa, I'm in Taranaki. And so, really, it's a great time for us to reflect on what we've achieved here in terms of, or you've achieved here, what Sarah, leadership team, board of trustees, whānau, you as kaiako have achieved here. And now, what are your responsibilities? Because now we've got these taonga here, they come with responsibilities. And so that then requires us to be able to build a strong narrative, a strong story that we can impart to our tamariki, that we can impart to our community. And that we don't forget them. So, and it's our response, if you like, to Te Ao Māori, it's our response to Te Tiriti o Waitangi, it's our response to the whenua and the land upon which the school is built, it's our response to grasping a hold of this taonga called Te Ao Māori, the taonga called Te Reo Māori, me ona tikanga, and sharing that, expanding our knowledge to share with our tamariki. So, so with that, I mean, that's really the conclusion of our morning session. So before we say our karakia wakamutunga or wakakapi, if you like, just to finish off and conclude this part, I'll hand back over to Sarah just for some final words.
I said to Damon after our blessing on that Friday unveiling, I felt quite overwhelmed, but I think in terms of, it was more awe of the whole process of having Kenny and Nick and Damon leading us in journey, right down to Philippa and Kerry, who have been a part of this, the development of our tohu, and our tamariki who all contributed to this. And then the responsibility that comes with that. And it was really, can you hear me, Christina? Yeah. It was really heartwarming because when I thanked Te Taumahura from Ngāti Te Whiti on the day and said, we are so thankful that you are here to help us and to celebrate and be a part of this, she said she felt really blessed to be there because she said she used to, or she does worry about Te Ao Māori, about Te Reo Māori, and about what that looks like. But she said after being here, hearing our karakia, our waiata, our pronunciation, seeing our staff, our children speaking and singing, and being really committed to this, she felt really uplifted. And when I shared that with Damon, he was like, that's really special as well to hear that. So, well done everyone, because, we're taking this on. We know it's really, really important why we do it. But it's just that whole effort of everyone being together. No one's on their own. And when we move into this next part of the journey, it's the same. Don't leave here thinking, what am I going to do? It's, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it together? It's a really supportive process. So, and we'll all have another part to play in that. So, once again, thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Damon and Philippa and Kerry and whoever Nick is back there. And Nick, you're a really special part of this. And to have your mum and dad and your family there that day was really, really important to us too. So, yeah, ka pai. And this is exciting, 2023, a new beginnings. Really cool. So,
together, why have we got Hannah? Do we think we... Tu Kahikatea?
Yeah, I was going to say that one, yeah. E Tu Kahikatea toru pa. E Tu Kahikatea e waka pai ururoa. Api mai api atu. Tātou tātou e. Tātou tātou e. E Tu Kahikatea e waka pai ururoa. Api mai api atu. Tātou tātou e. Tātou tātou tahirua toru wha hikio.
Ka pai. And whānau, we'll just finish with our closing karakia. Let's all do Waka Te Au. We started with that. And again, in any of our karakia we do from here on, just think of Julie. Just during this time, and others too that are going through challenging times. So, karakia waka kapi, waka taka te au, toru wha.
Waka taka te au ki te uru, waka taka te au ki te tonga, kia mā hina hina hita, kia mā tara tara ki tai, e I haki ana te atakura, e tio, e huka, e au, tia mauri ora.
Ka pai wāna, tia mauri ora, all the best for 2023, day 1, term 1. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ka pai.